Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is MGM 3113 Organizational Behavior. I'm thanking all of you for joining us today. And today's interesting and also very, very important topic for our discussion is called organizational culture. As you know, these are some of the learning objectives that we are supposed to cover in this masterclass. Okay, we're going to find out what is this organizational culture, what is the common characteristic of this culture, then how the culture is being transmitted to employees, right? Then what are the factors that are going to help us to create that culture, and also most importantly to sustain the culture. Then what are the functional and dysfunctional effects of culture? What way culture can help and what way culture can actually destroy an organizations. Then what about the similarities and also differences that we use to develop ethical culture or positive culture, or even some level spiritual culture? And finally, what is the relationship between the national culture of as a nation as well as the organizational culture? So these are some of the elements that we're going to look into. Let's start our discussions. Is there anyone who knows what is this picture is all about? Go ahead and take a wild guess. It looks like a heaven on earth, right? So can anyone tell me where this place is actually? Okay, any guess? You can put it in a chat box, or you can actually unmute yourself and speak to me. What do you think this place is? Okay, what is this place? Any wild guess? I'm sure that you all can guess this place. So tell me, what is this place? Okay, Call Young says Genting Highland. What about the rest? Is that any other idea what is this place is? Any idea this place other than Genting Highland? Do you think this is Genting Highland? Okay. The rest are not here or not interested to answer or don't know. Okay. Thank you, Tan. Thank you. Okay, you're absolutely right. This is a place called Genting Highland. Okay, the Genting Island. Many, many decades ago, if you see the picture, the only place that is actually inhabited by human being is this area. Okay, this is where the Malaysian army camp used to reside as a protection, as a security, right? That's the only place. Other than that, the whole thing is jungle. Okay, just mountain and jungle. And we had one gentleman, okay, who walked up to this mountain one day, walked through the jungle mountain for 2 nights, 3 days. He walked up. He just walked, nothing else, nothing else. He just walked, stayed with the animals and whatnot. When he come down, okay, he met the Prime Minister of Malaysia at that time, Tunku Abdul Rahman. Then he told Tunku, I want to build a city there, entertainment city. Everybody laughed. Of course, Tunku laughed. Are you crazy or what? It's a cold place, mountain. What are you going to do there? He said, no, I really want to build a city there. Nobody believed him. And Tunku says, okay, why not? Okay, you can, but I cannot decide. You have to go to the Pahang government, okay, the royal Pahang government, and talk to them because that place owns by state of Pahang. So he went to see the Sultan of Pahang and told the same idea. I want to build entertainment city there. Of course, they also laughed at first. Then finally they said, yeah, why not? Okay, they gave him that place to build his first casino and also other related. And today, Genting Highland is known as the entertainment city up in the cloud that must be admitted as the best in the world. Look at this. All this is a single dream, single vision of one person, and that person's name is Lim Gotong, better known as Tan Sri Lim Gotong. That's the idea. How he built this organization to become what it is today. How he can build this service providing, entertainment providing place to become the world best casino as well as other entertainment element. What actually sustaining the success of this place? is what we're going to study today. All right. And the foundation of our discussion here today will be the organizational culture. What is the role of this organizational culture in the success of Genting Highland? Then we go into the academic part of it. See what happened many, many years ago, particularly in the year of 1999. I used to work in Genting Highland. My office is next to what you call Awana. The place is called Institute Amruddin Baki. So one of my favorite thing to do when I'm working in Genting Highland is I'll go for a tea time in Awana Hotel. They used to have a restaurant called Rajawali Restaurant. Their Nescafe Tari is one of the best. And I used to go for my evening break alone so that I can sit there facing the golf course in the chill weather, enjoy for some reflection and a rest. One day, while I was there, there was a commotion. People got panicked. Then I saw Tan Sri Lim Gotong, at that time he's in an advanced age, was walking towards the restaurant. So when everybody was rushing to serve him, there are 7 of them surrounded his table and he's sitting 3 tables away from me. And I admire him. I said, this is one of the most successful person in the history of Malaysia. And here you sit just next to me, admire. So Tan Sri said, 7 of them started to serve him. He looked at them. Tan Sri cannot speak English, by the way. He speaks broken Malay. He banged the table. And he asked them this question in Bahasa, broken Bahasa. He said, Apa sai? Apa sai means, what's up? Apa hal? What's up? With the angry tone. So they started to say, no, Tan Sri, we wanted to take an order. Right? And he got so angry. He banged the table again. He says in Bahasa, ini kedai saya. This is my shop. He didn't call it a hotel. He didn't call it a restaurant. He said, ini kedai saya. Okay, this is my restaurant. Pergi jaga customer. And he chased them away and pointing at me and also the rest. Your job here is to go and serve the customers, not serve me. So imagine Tan Sri Lim Gotong, one of the richest person at that point of time, and his family still is. Okay, he come to the restaurant. He didn't demand for anything else. He said that go and serve the customers. And that's what make Genting Highland as the most successful organization today, because the founder, Tan Sri Lim Gotong, his philosophy is to take care of the customer. And that you can see at every level of management and leadership of Genting Highland Resort World as a company. Their focus is customer service. Why? Because the founder had that philosophy to build that place that is based on customer satisfaction. That turns out to be the culture of the organizations until today. So the binding factor that makes Genting Highland what Genting Highland is today is the orientation towards customer satisfaction, which now embedded in every aspect of organizational management and culture in Genting Highland. That's how important it is. Allow me to ask you this question. Do you all know who this gentleman is? Any idea? You all can think of who this person probably is. All right. If say no, just type no so that at least I know to continue the lessons. Okay. Any idea who this person is? Yes, no? Okay. All right. Okay. Mostly no. Thank you very much for responding. I appreciate all of you are responding. Okay. Okay. He is called the father of management, the guru of management. Management guru is number 1. I got about 3 or 4 books at the back of me, but I can tell you he's not guru of management. He is guru to all management guru. So how powerful he is. His name is Peter Drucker. That's it. He wrote the book, The Principles of Management. So thick, it's somewhere behind that. It's become the major core reference for anybody who want to become manager and leader, right? And so many other books, all right, that he has authored, written. So he wants come out with a phrase. Okay. And his phrase is slightly different from a Malaysian, Eastern, what do you call proverbs, pribhasa. This is an American pribhasa. What he said, he says, all right, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So this is very American, what do you call proverbs. Yeah. That means in order for the organization to be successful, they must have the right strategy. They must have a right system and they must have a right strategy, right? Without that, they will fail. However, Peter Drucker says, hey, it's very okay to have a right system, very okay to have a right strategy. However, these two are not as important as culture. So when we say culture eats strategy for breakfast, it is the superior level of culture that can actually sustain the success of the organization, not strategy, not system. You may have a very good system, you may have a very good strategy, but they will fail if we do not have the right positive organizational culture. That's the meaning of culture eats strategy for breakfast. I mean, it just to show how, what you call, important the culture is in any organizations, right? So that's what we're going to do today. So what is this culture? Okay, the textbook definition goes for organization culture refers to a system of shared meaning held by the members that distinguishes the organization from other organizations. That means how are we going to differentiate company A is different from company B, right? Even though they're in the same business, even though they're probably producing same automobile or same mobile phone, product is the same. But how are we going to differentiate? We're going to differentiate by the way they do their things. Culture, in a broader definition, says how you do things. How you do things. That's what culture is. So in this sense, the organization culture means how the company does their thing. And that will separate this and that, right? This will separate this and that, this company and that company. So that's what it is. So I picked up some other definition. I like this definition. It says, what is organizational culture? Culture is the soul of the organizations. This definition says the beliefs and the values and how they are manifested, how the belief and the values, what do you call, appear in people's head, people's thinking, people's behavior, people's action. That's about it. That's how it manifested, right? Culture provides stability to an organization and gives employees a clear understanding of the ways things are done around an organization. So that means the culture means it will tell you this is how you operate, this is how you're supposed to do things. All right. So culture set the tone for how organization operates and how individuals within the organization interact. So that means culture means we'll tell you the company operates like this, then this is how the organizational member they interact with each other. So culture is the foundation for every organization. So the key question is that what are the characteristics, okay, that actually explain to us what culture is all about. Okay. Number one, okay, that we will look for what is the element of adaptability in the organization, how adaptable people are, will tell the element of culture, right? Second, what are they focusing on? Whether they're focusing on the big picture or whether they focus on the detail. Okay. So that also will tell what the culture is all about. Okay. Sometimes some organizations are process oriented. They don't care about the result. They want the process to be right. But some organizations don't care about the what do you call process. They want to focus on the result and also the outcome. So that's also explained about the culture. Some organization they focus on the process and the task, but some says no. Focus on the people, your own people, your customer, internal customer. That's why Richard Branson says, okay, you must treat your employees better than you treat your customer, he says, because that is the culture, right? So whether the organization is individualistic or they promote team collaboration, okay, that's another part. So every work be done as a collaborative nature or not. Finally, whether or not the culture promote integrity, that means do things honestly, okay, do things with that what do you call ethically. Or some other companies, they said, yeah, as long as we make some profit, never mind. So they will be willing to sell some outdated product. But in this organization, we are decided that this is how we're going to live, this is how we're going to survive. So in that sense, the word integrity is another element of the thing. So when you talk about culture, there are four different cultures, right? There are four different way culture: the clan, the adhocracy, the market, and the hierarchy. Okay, so what is this? Four different culture. There are some other differences and definition elsewhere, but these are the most common one. Okay, the most common one. So a clan culture basically means it's a friendly, almost family like work environments. Everybody happy with each other, it's almost like a bro macha, that kind of thing, right? But the idea is that this culture focuses on the moral of the employees and relationship above all else. So they really say that as a company we are like a family. So they use that kind of terminology to show that we are all belongs to one clan. Okay. uh, that is the idea is that people must become closer if they belongs to one clan, or sometimes we also call tribal, tribe. There's another one is that adhocracy. Adhocracy means create a culture that is more fast and fail fast. So they everybody want to take risk. Everybody want to do willing to try. Sometimes it may cause the organization collapse, but again with the new innovation and also new agility, learning from failure in the past, so probably now they can do better. So they'll be willing to take the risk. Okay. Second is the market. Third is a market based culture. Okay, so that means we are looking into what is our result, what is our desired outcome and goals, and now how we can recruit the right employees to come and work for us. That's a question, right? And finally, one form of a characteristic of a culture is a hierarchy. Okay, of course, whenever we talk about hierarchy, we also learn about the hierarchy of Maslow hierarchy of needs, if you all can still remember. Okay, but in this case, it's slightly different. Here we are talking about the way that things are done follow the power-based hierarchy. Yeah. Okay, so that means the higher the person is in the hierarchy, the more powerful the person is going to be. And of course, the last one in the organization do not have anything to say, but he or she probably just follow the instruction. Okay, so these are the four different way of organizational culture. So culture is actually a descriptive term. So you cannot actually pinpoint, oh, this is the culture, because it's a evolving things. So you can look for some signal, but other than that, you really, really cannot pinpoint uh, where the culture start and where the culture stop. Okay, because it's an overlapping kind of thing. But we can always ask, what is the benefit of the culture? So some of the question is that uh, does the culture encourage teamwork or not? Does the culture reward innovation or not? Okay, and also whether does it stifle initiative? That means not allowing people to uh, think out of box. So I hire you, you work within this what you call terms and conditions. That's it. Don't go and disturb other things that is not being needed by you. So you must know the culture is definitely different from job satisfaction. Definitely different from job satisfaction. What's the difference? The job satisfaction is about how you feel when you're doing it. Culture is that how you want to do it. Okay, two different things. So do organization have a uniform culture? Depend. Uniform culture means not those who are wearing uniform. That means the same culture across the organization. I say depend, but nowadays we do not have anymore. Okay. So different organizations, in the different organization, maybe different department will have a different focus on the culture. I'll give more examples later. Okay. But however, we will have one dominant culture. Then we have got many subcultures. Subcultures are offshoot of the dominant, what we call culture, right? So departmentally, they may be slightly doing differently compared to another department, but organizationally, they all know what they are doing, right? So this is the dominant culture, talks about the core values of that majority, okay? Core values of the majority of the members, and now apply it in that sense. This is where the subculture will emerge. Subculture means it's not about the top management, but there will be small group of people who are not happy, and they will have their own way of doing things, right? So that's called subculture. And I can tell you this subculture can become the worst disease for any organization. Okay. Worst disease for any organization. So always be mindful of looking at culture as well as subconscious. Then, of course, there's another dimension is a strong culture. There's not a dominant culture. This is a strong culture. All right. And this is where we talked about your core values. What do you value the most? Bring it to the workplace. Okay. Bring it to the workplace. And the commitment is going to be really, really high when somebody coexists in a strong culture. All right. So this is just an intro. We're going to go dive deeper into that, what do you call the topic. For now, okay, I want to give you all 5 minutes break. I know it's 3 o'clock, too much of what do you call dragging. Okay, just take 2 minutes break. And when we come back, we will continue with our discussion. Okay. So the idea is whenever we talk about this dominant culture, okay, so and also we have got a subculture, right? So dominant culture is where the overall organization at every aspect of the organization will be focusing on, like what we discussed in Genting Highland example. In Genting Highland example, we were looking into dominant culture as a customer-centric organizations. Okay, that's a dominant culture. But beyond that, we looked into other aspect of small subcultures. So subculture sometimes is actually go to the department, like say in UPM. UPM has got one culture, right? But in the School of Business and Economics, that's where you are studying right now, and I'm working there, then we will have our very own ways of doing things, right? Then, interestingly, in the School of Business and Economics, we have got three major programs: economics, finance, and also BBA. And for the BBA, our head of department, Dr. Haslinda, she has got a different way of leading us. Then we may be practicing something unique for our department that is not the same as other part of organizations or other part of what we call UPM for that matter. So that at the small, anything that being practiced at the lower level, at a smaller level, it's called the subculture. This is different from something what we call as a strong culture. All right. Strong culture is where almost everybody will follow this as if it is part of the system and the process. Remember, culture is not written, right? Process and the system is written, rules and regulation, how he follows. But when we say there is a culture called strong culture, that actually explains how everyone in that organization completely believe in it, and all the members of the organization accept that core values, okay, and will practice at any given time, okay, with a higher commitment. Plus, they also definitely will influence every aspect of the members' behavior. So now the question that we should be asking is that actually what culture can do, all right? So what are the functions of the culture? Okay. In this case, we will know that as a culture, it's a boundary defining role. That means everybody know that what I need to do, okay? And they also know that how I supposed to, what do you call, play my function and the role in the organization. So it's a boundary. It's created as a proper boundary, okay? And beyond that, culture also is a binding factor that every team member, all right, will have an affiliation towards a single identity. Okay, we are from IBM. Okay, then everybody know that as an IBM employee, what I am, So that's about this, right? Then facilitates a generation of commitment, the higher commitment, because everybody believe into the certain values, right? Certain cultural values here in the organization. So definitely that will enhance the organizational commitment. Then the social system in that organization. So the hierarchy of who is more dominant, who is the boss here, as well as what is my role. So the system will be settled by itself just following the culture. And most importantly, culture also is a sense making and control mechanism. And we know that, when to fight, when not to fight, when to argue, when not to argue, and when we accept whatever our seniors or the higher officers, whatever that they say, and that will become the rule of the day. So that's how we will be looking into this culture. So culture plays a massive role in keeping the organization going. Okay. So culture actually creates climate. Okay. I don't want y'all to think of climate as in bahasa cuaca tak ngam, okay, it's not really fitting in. So it's not this. In bahasa word, I would say suasana, persekitaran. Okay, that's a climate here. So organizational climate is actually how people coexist together. Then you can feel the climate of the organizations. Like for instance, okay, if you go to UK, okay, and you go to UK 4 different times in a year, and each time when you go, you can feel, hey, this is summer, this is winter, this is what you call the spring, okay, and this is the autumn. So you'll know because the weather is different there. So the climate is different, the weather is different. So when you go there, you know that, hey, this is summer that I'm going into. Same goes to any organization that you go, then you will know that, hey, how the organization works. The climate you can feel, okay, and also the team spirit, what kind of team functions there, okay, then how they interact with each other, and mostly what are the habits that people practice in that organization that are shared by everyone. So now the next question is, yeah, we got the culture in place, that's a binding factor, but in what way we're going to bring in the ethics? Remember, ethics is how you do your right things. Okay, management is how you do your things right, follow the system, follow the process and procedure. But ethic is sometimes you may want to break your rules because you know that that's the right thing to do. So ethics is how you do the right things. So culture will guide all the people in the organization towards working as one single what do you call entity, right? And everybody will know what is the right thing to do, what is the thing that they should not do. So with a strong culture, we can actually deliver the ethical message to every member of the organization. Okay, everyone will actually will know the right action to be taken. Okay, the right rules to be followed and whatnot. Right. So ethical climate actually reflects the true values of the organization. So by we follow the true values of the organization, that's where the what do you call the ethical decision can be made. So every time when we look into the way that the decisions are made in the company, then we know that they are following certain values as a part of the organizational culture. That's very important. Okay. So under this theory, ethical climate theory, ECT, we realize that there are a few dimensions of this organizational culture, ethical dimension. Yeah. Namely, we are talking about what are the instrumental values that the culture trying to what you call share among all the employees. What is the caring nature? How independent they are from each other, and also sometimes interdependent, right? Then also, what are the law and the code that every members in the organization must follow, must practice? Okay. Then what are the rules that they must practice? So these are some of the elements that this under the ethical climate theory that brings into organizational culture. Okay. Basically, in a simple term, these are the mindset, expectations of what do you call it, and the values of the managers and the employees across that organization. Okay. So in summary, we can say that ethical climate, so when everybody agreed that this is the right things to do, so that climate powerfully influences the way individual members feel they should behave. They know that, hey, I cannot do this. They know that this is the wrong way of doing things. So sometimes it's not even written. So the other day I gave an example. Okay, I'm a lecturer. Okay, so professional conduct that we cannot get closer with our students in an intimate level. That means it's the involving emotions and sexual conduct. We are not supposed to do that. So that's what our rules and regulations is very clear. But ethically, we have to go beyond what the rules and the regulations says, right? So in my case, I keep it my policy. I've been here for 20 years. I keep it my policy. I will never go out any of my female students. So I've never taken any of my female students, even go for a drink, because I said that, this is what a lecturer should do and shouldn't do. I'm very clear with that idea. All right. So now Sustainability. Okay, just hold on, yeah, just hold on. What about the element of sustainability then? Okay, so when you talk about sustainability, it's about how long the organization can last doing the business that they are doing it. Okay, so we are talking about the long period here. Those days when we talk about sustainability, we are looking about an organization should last into, towards 15 to 20 years. Nowadays, of course, it's going to be quite uh, challenging. But if an organization can sustain for 5 years, wow, that means you are very strong. So let's give 10 years of the organization. So now, in what way organization culture can help organizations, right, to sustain their business? That's the key, right? So this is where what you call every members of the organization should know what is the core business of that particular organization. Then what is their role? Because you see, to create a truly sustainable business, organization must have a long-term culture. Long-term culture. So that means it's not a short-term, yeah. It's a long-term culture. Then they must bring in the organizational values, corporate values, they call it. And that corporate values must be shared by every member of the organization. In that way, we can increase the probabilities of the organization succeed in a long period of time. Okay. So sustainability is not easy. It's going to take a long time and also a lot of nurturing along that way that we must practice. What about this innovation then? Okay, so when you talk about culture and innovation, this is where we know that some of the innovative organizations like Apple, for instance, okay, so they have a very strong culture of innovation. So they encourage, like now Microsoft also the same. We are talking about Google. All these organizations, they all support a lot of innovation. So culture, innovation, whenever we talk about innovation, that's where the risk taking comes in. So as an organization culture, they must encourage people to be innovative. At the same time, they should not punish people who are making mistakes, because obviously when you are try to innovate, you want to make some mistakes and also some what you call failures, right? So in that culture where promotes innovation, they also should embrace failure and the mistake as a part of the growth, right? So this is where one of the what you call important element of culture must be the area where it supports innovations. Okay, remember, culture is actually one of the strongest asset that we have. We go back to Peter Drucker says, at any time, culture will have strategy for breakfast. So that means how important it is. So since it's so important, we must treat that as an asset. Okay, we must protect it, because remember, asset means the value will go up. So that's what we said, culture is an asset. Is definitely contribute to various, okay, elements of bottom line profit and also productivity and the performance, whatnot. Okay, so we are talking about so many case studies that we can when you look back, we always zoom into the role played by organization culture towards the success of the organization. Okay, but sometimes the culture can become liability. Okay, sometimes it can become a liability. What do you mean by liability? Liability here means everybody follow, but now that will stop, every institutionalized, every level this is being practiced, but that actually can bring difficulty for people to change because they're unable to embrace the new things, right? So that's a difficulty to change. And also sometimes they would like to work with the people they know, same ethnicity, same religion and whatnot. So this won't allow people from outside of the domain to come in. So there is no diversity as well. Remember, diversity is the name of the game today. Inclusiveness is everything, right? But a strong culture will stop people from going there. And sometimes it will go for toxicity. That means negative elements and also dysfunction. The teams are not operating because you're all holding on to certain level of what you call wrong and old practices. Okay. So at the same time, this also will stop the acquisition and merger. If some company wanted to take over our business, they're finding it, no, that this company is going to be very difficult. And this is where we are having some issues of what they call diversity, right? That's an idea. Okay. Just hold on. So when those people who are interested to take over organization, when they realize that if our culture is very strong and but not positive, and that will stop people want to buy our company because they said, hey, it's going to be very difficult to manage this company or turn around this company because of the existing cultures are very strong as well as difficult for transformation, right? So now we have to ask, okay, we realize that how important the culture is and whatnot. So now the question is that where this what do you call culture begins, okay? Then how are we going to succeed? Okay. So remember, we go back to Genting Island again. The ultimate source of an organization culture is the founders. Remember Tan Sri Lim Gotong, how he built, then what is his view about what Genting Island supposed to be. So that founder's vision will be passed on by stories after stories after stories. Today, anybody who worked for Genting Island, they have to listen to the story of how Tan Sri Lim Gotong founded Genting Island. What was his aspiration? What are his values, right? So the founders will have a vision. So Tan Sri Lim Gotong, he said that it is not just a casino. He wanted to build an entertainment city up in the cloud. So that was the vision. So now everyone who works for Genting Island, I was told that about 40,000 people working there, all of them share the same vision and they all practice that strong culture that actually enhances this, right? So regardless of whatever it is, the founder's idea will influence the organization culture. Okay. So the culture can occur in three ways, three different ways, right? So now founders hire employees. So that means how Tan Sri Lim Gotong or any other founder, I have this vision. So during the recruitment, I will make sure that the people that I'm recruiting, right, they can follow my ways of doing things, okay, my values. And that is easier to develop the culture that everybody agrees because I follow the right people. Okay. Or sometimes employees are indoctrinated, brainwashed, they call it, right? They may not believe in it, but they are being brainwashed. You can see this, some of the religious organization. They don't even know what they are supporting, right? Because they are being brainwashed to follow the so-called culture of the clan. Okay, they are brainwashed. Okay. And so the third one is that the leader's behavior itself, how the leader behave. So that's an example. So when he come to the restaurant, Tan Sri Lim Gotong, he demanded that everybody go and look after the customers, not me. So that clearly a signal to all the employees that give preference to the customers because the founder himself, okay, demands that. All right. So the belief system and the values of the founder that they see in action will become part of their ways of doing things. But now the question is, it's very difficult to build a culture, right? But how we are going to, all right, keep this culture alive? That's the question. How are we going to keep the culture alive? It's not going to be easy. So this is where we have to make sure that the hiring process must be proper. Hiring process must be proper so that they can actually fit into our organization. Remember, it's a two-way. Okay. Sometimes you hire the right people, our culture is not right. Sometimes our culture is right, you hire the wrong people. No. So we have to make sure that our process of hiring, recruitment must be very stringent, plus must be appropriate for us to identify the right employees to join us. But mostly, if you ask me, other than the employees or the recruitment, is the behavior of the top management that we call this the C-suite people. If they do not live and behave according to what the culture demands, nobody down there will follow. Remember during leadership, I shared this quotation by Chinese, the fish get rotten from the top. So that means if the top is spoiled, the whole body will be spoiled. So if the top management do not practice that norms and the behavior as accepted by the culture, don't expect the followers to practice that as well. This is where the socialization model comes in. How can we actually use this to share the culture among the new recruit, and also we sustain them? That's a key, right? So that means sometimes the pre-arrival itself. So before they come in, then they have to do some study about, let's say, if you're joining HSBC, then we'll be asking some questions. Then you'll be doing some preparation during the interview, right? So at the time itself, you'll know what are the important elements of the HSBC culture. Okay, so you will know, definitely you will know, right? Then we are talking about they are being what you call recruited. Okay, so during the recruitment process itself, you'll be exposed to some of the cultural aspect of our organizations. Then now you are being exposed to the new process, and now you must evolve to become someone in that organization that going to grow into a full-fledged butterfly, all right, from the egg to larva to cocoon. So now you're going to transfer. So when you become the butterfly, this is where you are completely believe in the culture of the organization. You're going to practice it in every aspect of yourself. The benefit of this, when you completely buy into the culture, and now you're operating into this culture, what are the benefits? The benefits are straightforward. Your productivity will be very high, because the founders already know this is what is required, right? Your commitment will be very strong, because now now you are believing in what you are saying, right? Then of course the turnover will be lesser. The turnover will be lesser because people will be there. That's why in Genting Island, I did a long time ago, I did some research. Genting Island, if you are working there, you cannot take leave every week. Okay, cannot take leave every week. Okay, why? Because it's a service orientation. So you will take the 4 days leave, that your Sunday leave, right? Your 4 days leave at the end of the month, one go. So that means you have to work 7 days a week, 7 days a week, 7 days a week. And the last end of the month, you will take 4 days leave. Why? Because they want to make sure there are enough number of employees are available to take care of the customer. So that's already a disadvantage. Okay, definitely you cannot do that. Then if you're celebrating festivals, Hari Raya, Deepavali, Chinese New Year, and whatever it is, so you're not going to get your public holiday, because if everybody take leave and go, who's going to manage it? So they will take rotation to give your public holiday. So your chance of going back for Hari Raya and also other festival is maybe 4 to 5 years once. Otherwise, you'll be working. So imagine these are the scenarios, right? As well as the weather is very cold, super cold. Sometimes, unbearably cold. So and you cannot go back to hometown because you're up in the mountain, right, in Genting Island. So with all this negative element of employment, and if you walk into Genting Island, ask them how long they've been working, they'll be telling that 20, 30 years of working there. I have actually seen, when I was in Genting Island, someone who joined as a junior, all right, and today becoming a manager. I've seen that the little boy looking like an uncle, looking much older than I am, because the loyalty is there. Because you know why? Because they believe in what Genting Island is doing. Okay, that's the whole idea. Okay, so this is again the frustration is sometimes we advertise, come and join us in this job, you will become like this, you will become like this, and all the thing. But unfortunately, there's a lot of difference between what companies advertise as the culture of the organization is not in reality. Look at the data, right? Look at the data. Okay, people are, when they join, they realize that, hey, people are not happy here, particularly when they advertise that, the salary level, right? So suddenly they say that, hey, what they promised was different than what I was getting in. So every aspect, advanced career advancement, supervisor personality, working hours. So sometimes we promote our organization that this is who we are, but in reality, we are not. In a way, we are cheating people, right? And mostly when someone come and work for us after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, then they realize that, hey, this is not what they promised me during the interview. So this is where the what do you call, the culture will fail people. Okay. So now the question is that how this organizational culture form, from where they come. Okay, so remember we discussed earlier, one of the great source of culture is the philosophy of the founder. I go back to Genting Island again. I go back to Mark Zuckerberg. Go back to Bill Gates. I go back to Steve Jobs. Okay, these are the people who found the company. They have got a very strong idea what the business and the company is supposed to be. So the number one reference for any organization culture formation is what is the philosophy of the organization founders, in this case, Genting Highland for that matter. Then we use that one and we select the right people, okay, the right criteria, what we would like to highlight, how we're going to do that. So we give it to the top management and they must walk the talk. And the way that the top management behave and walk the talk based on the cultural aspect, then the people below there, they will get to know. Okay, they'll mingle with the top management. They get to know why the top management is behaving like that, what is important for top management. So over a period of time, when this is being repeated and repeated and repeated, that will become the organization culture. That will become the element that create a strong organization culture. But how the employees learn the culture, right? So the employees learn the culture into various ways. Stories. Remember how Tan Sri Lim Gotong built Genting Highland by 2 days walking, 2 nights and 3 days walking. And that's an inspirational story. Okay. And every employee comes in, they'll be looking that I would like to work for this man. Okay. I would like to continue his dream because the stories are powerful. Ritual is it is not what they call religious based. It's a practice, community practice based. Sometimes some organization they practice this ritual day in day out. Like for instance, I'm just giving another example. If you're looking into what they call New Zealand rugby, okay, team. Okay, so what they do when they before they start the game, they will have the war cry. They'll be stomping their feet on the ground and stomping their hand. The loud noise with the facial decorations and the tongues are hanging. They will intimidate. Okay, they'll intimidate the opponent with that presence. That's a ritual. Some of the things. Okay, so I don't know how many of you follow Liverpool. Okay, so one of the ritual is that every player who goes down to the tunnel, they will touch this is Anfield sign. That's a ritual. Some of the footballers that in your favorite team, you will know that before they go in, they will touch the ground and they will say a prayer before they go in. So those are not scientifically proven, but those are some of the rituals. Some organization, they keep the rituals as what they call a norm that everybody to follow. Sometimes the culture is being transmitted as a part of the symbol. Okay, the symbol, the hat that they wear, the dress that they think, the color, material symbol, the t-shirt, and also sometimes the language people use, what they call between others and between them and also the top management. This is where the challenge comes in. How can we create an ethical culture? In summary, the leader must lead by example. That's it, in summary, right? Then keep communicating what is expected from the employees to apply their ethical expectations. Give training, or definitely give more training, and also give reward to those people who show some ethical act. If they've done that, promote that, okay, this person has done wonderfully well, didn't take what do you call corruptions or bribery, and reward them, so when everybody know that ethical practice are being rewarded, they would want to follow too. All right. Of course, at the same time, you must have a very strong protective mechanism not to reveal those people who are revealing the wrongdoers. We call this the whistleblowers. So if there is a whistleblower, so we keep the identity of the people who are revealing bad things secretly, so that they will have more trust in you to come and tell the wrong things, unethical things that are happening in that organization. Okay, so now we are talking about create a positive organization culture. So the organization culture is supposed to be positive, right? But here we are talking about the positive organization culture means it's not only the culture from the top management or the founder. We also must know who are the people that working for us. What are the strength of the people. So maybe we can modify the culture according to the strength of the people that we have, right? And also now on the other side, we actually, what do you call, uh, promote and support success, not the other way around. Yeah, not the other way around. Not keep on punishing. We are not going to do that, right? Then also in the organizational positive culture, we promote growth. We promote growth, right? But remember, this does not mean that this positive culture will solve all our problem. Not necessarily, not necessarily. Then brings us to that element of spirituality in the workplace. Okay, I know whenever we talk about spirituality, there's a chances of we are talking about connecting it that to the religion. Not really. Okay, it is not about God. It is not about God. It's about the way, all right, that you recognize that I have a life, inner life here. Then I want to grow to become a better version of myself. Then I want to do a meaningful work. Okay, so that's about the spirituality. Spirituality is doing your work well, then you want to contribute to that organizations. Okay, so spirituality can counterbalance. That means there are a lot of stress in the workplace. Okay, also pressure, deadlines, physical, mental illness, and whatnot. So when you bring in that element of spirituality, that is, again, as I said, is not God related. It's about you're finding peace inside you. Okay, that's definitely going to be helpful. Okay, definitely going to be helpful for spiritual organizations. Okay, so what are the characteristics of spiritual organizations? Okay, and this is where we are talking benevolence. Benevolence means do good without expecting anything in return. Okay, that's benevolence. So you do good without expecting anything in return. Then we are talking about everybody has got a very strong sense of purpose. They know why they are doing what they are doing. They trust and respect each other. At the same time, there's also open-mindedness where these people know that why you're doing what you're doing, and I respect that. All right. So this is what how ideal spiritual organization should function. So is it possible to achieve ideal spiritual organization? Yes, I believe so. I believe so. But all must start from the leader. And the leader must show the way. Okay, the leader must show the way that how he or she is living a life of positive culture, applying the right values, showing the right attitude, and practicing the right behavior that actually make the job is very satisfying for yourself first. Only when you're happy, you can make others happy. Don't try to make others happy by you suffer. No, don't do that, right? Don't do that. So now also on the contrary, the CEO and the top management also can ask the people how they can actually connect their inner purpose to the work that they're doing so that they will feel connected. So they'll feel not frustrated to wake up on Monday mornings. Okay, waking up on Monday morning is definitely the key indicator you are connected with the work or not. If you feel frustrated to wake up on Monday morning and feel tired thinking going to work, so that means you are not actually having a good time working. Sometimes you will be actually emotionally stressed out too. Okay. So some of the critics, they said, no, we shouldn't do all this, and they will say that, what is the scientific evidence to show spirituality in the organization works? Of course, we are not going to show them any data, right? Then they will say that, is it legitimate? What about those people coming from a different religion? Will they be forced to practice some other things? No, it is not about religion at all. All right. Then again, people will be asking, hey, yeah, but spirituality, how that going to guarantee us a profit? Who's going to buy because of your spiritual organization? Again, we are lost. Okay. So this is where we have to look into the organizational culture in a broader things. Okay. So sometimes the companies, MNCs, they go beyond their own land, right? So can they actually bring in their culture, then impose into other countries now? Or can they modify a little to suit the organization or not? So you must understand that this is not a one size fit all. Yeah. For instance, if you go to China, McDonald's China, they sell most number of porridge in McDonald's China. compared to anywhere else in the world. Because porridge happens to be their national dish. The thing, in Malaysia, we are selling nasi lemak rendang. You cannot get this nasi lemak rendang anywhere in the world. If you go to India, if you go to McDonald's, you will have a lamb burger, kambing, a lamb burger. Of course, we are not getting it here. And they are not selling beef burger, India, sensitive things. So you see modifications of that culture and also some product line. We call it a localization. Remember global? So this is global. So that means global companies becoming local. So this is where the behavior of the, employees, as far as culture is necessary. So how this organization culture will have impact on employee performance and satisfaction. Remember the objective of factors: adaptability, result orientation, people, customer service, collaboration, integrity. All this will be demanded from their employees, And because this is organization culture, there's an expectation of me as an employee, embrace the organization culture. Then I will practice it to the highest standard. So when I practice the organizational culture, this is where my performance level will go up. And obviously, the job satisfaction and the satisfaction of the client will be there as well. You see, this is a topic where we cannot prove it to you in a common word. But you know that you must realize that organization culture is actually fixed, but it is also must change according to the time. But it involves top management. For that to happen, top management must have a plan. Okay. So the good idea is we hire people with the right value system that can fit into our culture and our values. And these chances are they're going to stay with us much longer compared to somebody else who do not feel connected to what we are doing. Okay. So you must know that employees' performance and socializations depend a lot on the considerable degree that knowing what to do and what not to do. There are rules and regulations, but at the same time, there are practices. Remember, organization culture is a practice, the way we do things here. So when the employees knows what they should do or what they shouldn't do, then it's going to make much easier for them to perform. All right. So now remember, you can shape the culture of the work or organization environment. I remember when I was working at the very beginning, my boss gave me a quotation. It says that, Mehan, first, the job will shape you. That means you have to dress up the way that the title, because I was an assistant director. As an assistant director, I must dress up with my long sleeve, my coat, my tie, and my, buttons and a tie clip and whatnot. So I got no choice because that job requires me to dress up like that. So the first, the job will shape you. But after 3 years later, because I'm so-called, I become the expert in that field, and also my performance was very good. So now I'm beginning to dress up my own way. So I used to roll my shirt. I don't wear tie, and sometimes I don't wear my coat. Then people still accept me as I am. Okay, that's the second part of the quotation. First, the job will shape you. When you are really, really, really good, now you can shape the job. So now the way you do things will become the right way of doing things. Okay, so go ahead, believe in yourself that not all the time you have to fit into the culture, but if you're really, really good, you eventually can shape the culture. Okay, but again, remember the challenge, the difficult challenge is that this organization culture cannot be transported like the whole thing to another culture, another organization. There must be some adaptations, and this is where there's a program that we are offering in SPE, cross-cultural management. Learn all this. You take it as a elective subject. Go and learn the subject. This will prepare you how to deal with the culture from a foreign country. With that note, it's very clear that organization culture is definitely something that we should be learning and applying. And with that organization culture in place, we can always ensure long-term sustainability of the organizations. Like Peter Drucker says, okay, culture will have strategy for breakfast because That is going to be real fundamental factor that ensure the success of any company. Thank you very much for your attendance and also the participations.